Cardi B thought she was just cooling off in the Vegas heat, but what happened next turned into a full-blown legal nightmare. One second she was on stage telling fans to throw water, the next she was hurling a microphone into the crowd in a moment, caught on camera and replayed millions of times. But here's the twist, Cardi didn't just miss her target. She may have hit someone completely innocent. Now that fan, going by Jane Doe, isn't asking for fame, she's asking for damages because according to her, that mic toss didn't just bruise her body, it left her humiliated, traumatized, and emotionally wrecked. And this isn't just about one bad moment, it's about whether celebrities should be held accountable for reacting under pressure and whether Cardi B is about to pay the ultimate price for one viral second. But that's just the beginning because what followed was even crazier. It was July 2023, and Cardi B was headlining a packed show at Dry's Beach Club in Las Vegas. The summer sun was relentless, temperatures were spiking, and the energy was wild. At one point during her set, Cardi, drenched in sweat, told the crowd they could throw water on her to help her cool off. It seemed playful, harmless, even generous, but then it escalated. One fan took things too far. Instead of a misty splash or a bottle sprinkle, they launched water directly into Cardi's face, not at her body, not casually, right at her face mid-performance. That's when everything shifted. Without hesitation, Cardi's hand flew back and she launched her microphone straight into the crowd with full force. It wasn't a dramatic pause or a subtle reaction. It was raw, fast, and fueled by pure instinct. In that moment, the performance stopped and the crowd gasped. Phones were up, cameras were rolling, and just like that, the clip went viral. But here's the thing. The person who got hit allegedly wasn't even the one who threw the water. And that's when the real trouble began. The woman who claims she got hit, she's not clout chasing, she's lawyering up. Identified only as Jane Doe, she filed a lawsuit in Las Vegas naming not just Cardi B, but also Dry's Beach Club, the venue itself. According to the lawsuit, Cardi didn't just lose her temper. She suddenly and forcefully hurled that microphone without warning, hitting Jane directly and causing both emotional distress and physical injury. And Jane isn't stopping at Cardi. She's holding the venue responsible too, accusing them of negligence for failing to keep the environment safe, not just for the performer, but for the audience. The suit lists battery, assault, and lack of safety protocol as key points. Jane Doe claims she was publicly embarrassed, physically hurt, and left traumatized by the experience. She doesn't want to be famous. She wants financial compensation and likely a big number. What Cardi might have seen as a heat of the moment reaction is now being painted in court as a calculated act of violence. And with video proof circulating online, this lawsuit could stick harder than people expect. And what happened to that infamous microphone? Oh, it didn't disappear quietly. You'd think a microphone thrown in rage would just be evidence in a court case, or maybe get tossed in a backstage bin and forgotten. But not this one. This mic became legendary. Just days after the incident, the very same microphone Cardi B launched into the crowd ended up on eBay. And guess what? It sold for nearly $99,000. That's right. Someone paid close to six figures for a battered, possibly sweat-soaked piece of equipment, all because it was involved in a viral scandal. It wasn't a golden mic. It wasn't autographed. It wasn't even working properly. But because it was tied to that moment, the throw heard around the internet, it became a collector's item. And here's the irony, while Cardi is being sued for potentially injuring someone with it, someone else cashed in. The mic turned into a meme, a moment, and a moneymaker all at the same time. But while the internet laughed, one person was left bruised and filing paperwork. And public opinion, that's where things really start to split. When the clip first hit the internet, it was chaos. Some fans laughed, others gasped, but as more details came out, the tone shifted and the internet got divided. A lot of people were quick to point fingers at Cardi. They claimed she lost control, acted recklessly, and hit the wrong person. The fan who actually threw the water, nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, someone innocent allegedly took the hit and ended up in the ER and now in court. Critics didn't hold back. They called Cardi unprofessional, said she should have known better, and accused her of putting fans in danger. Some even labeled the whole moment ghetto or ratchet, as if artists aren't allowed to react to being assaulted on stage. But Cardi had her defenders too. Supporters said she was provoked, that throwing a full cup of water in someone's face, especially while they're performing, isn't just disrespectful, it's a violation. They argued that she was within her right to defend herself. After all, she didn't start the chaos, she just finished it. Still, one question hung heavy over it all. Was Cardi aiming for revenge or just reacting without thinking? Either way, public opinion was split, and the law, it doesn't always care about context. In the eyes of the law, it doesn't matter if Cardi was provoked. It doesn't matter if the water thrower disappeared. What matters is this: a person was allegedly injured, and Cardi B is the one who threw the mic. That's why Las Vegas authorities now consider Cardi a suspect in a battery investigation. Legal experts are already weighing in, and the message is clear. Even if you're reacting, you can still be held accountable for how you respond, especially when you're a celebrity on a stage with security and cameras everywhere. The law expects you to keep your cool even when someone disrespects you. Now, Cardi isn't just facing a civil lawsuit, she could potentially face criminal charges depending on how the investigation unfolds. And while she hasn't been arrested, the heat is rising. What started as a viral clip is now being examined under a courtroom lens. And the stakes? Way higher than likes or laughs. Because if this case sticks, Cardi could find herself spending more time in court than in the studio. And that brings up another debate. Let's be real. If Cardi B were a male rapper, would this mic throw have made headlines for weeks? Or would it have been labeled as just another wild concert moment? That's the double standard fans are now calling out. Because while Cardi is being dragged through lawsuits and battery investigations, some argue she showed more restraint than most. One slip, one impulsive reaction, and suddenly she's being treated like a violent criminal. But when male artists destroy equipment, get into backstage brawls, or leap into crowds, it's labeled as rock star behavior. The truth is, Cardi didn't start the drama that night. She was hit first, disrespected in front of thousands, and still all she did was throw a mic. As one fan said, she's lucky all she threw was that microphone. Some people would have tossed hands. But when a woman claps back, especially a woman like Cardi B, who's unapologetically loud, raw, and Latina, it becomes a media circus. And now she's being used as the face of what happens when celebrities lose control. The message is clear: defend yourself and you still might pay the price. What started as a split-second reaction has now spiraled into a full-blown legal showdown. One mic, one moment, and now possibly millions on the line. Cardi B didn't throw that microphone expecting it to make headlines or to end up in a courtroom. But in today's world where every move is recorded, every action dissected, and every reaction becomes a headline, there's no such thing as a small mistake. Was it self-defense? Was it recklessness? Or was it just a tired performer snapping after being publicly disrespected? The courts will decide. But what's already clear is that this moment, caught on camera, sold on eBay, and dragged across every timeline, will follow Cardi for a long time. And depending on how this lawsuit plays out, it could set a new precedent for how performers are expected to respond when fans cross the line. Because whether she wins or loses in court, this wasn't just about a microphone. It was about control, reputation, and how fast a moment can flip from performance to prosecution. And in the end, that mic hit harder than anyone expected.